Hey, Robert, your skin looks different lately. Smoother, more refreshed. Did you start seeing a dermatologist? I was caught off guard when Harold, a longtime friend from my local community center, asked me that last Thursday. A dermatologist? No, sir, I chuckled. Can't afford those visits on my retirement check. But you're right. The lines on my face have faded a bit. I couldn't help but reach up and touch my cheek. Even I noticed it felt softer than usual. So, what's your secret? Harold leaned in. You're holding out on me, aren't you? I grinned. Honestly? Just a bit of Vaseline I picked up at Walgreens last month. Cost me less than $4. Harold blinked. Are you serious? I spend $150 a month on creams and serums. Maybe you've had a moment like that, standing in front of the mirror, wondering if all those expensive beauty products actually do anything. Watching the wrinkles grow deeper and deeper despite the promises on the label. Well, in today's video, we're putting an end to that doubt. I'm going to show you a $4 solution that rivals luxury skincare worth hundreds. My name's Dr. Michael Rayner. I'm 84 years old, a retired plastic surgeon with over 5 decades of experience helping patients look and feel their best. And today, I'm revealing one of the simplest, most overlooked tools in skincare: plain old Vaseline. One of my former patients, a vibrant 73-year-old woman named Carol Thomas, used this method for just 3 months and looked nearly a decade younger. Her friends thought she had cosmetic work done, but all she used was Vaseline, applied in a very specific way. You see, it's not just about slathering it on. There's a technique to it, a nighttime ritual I've taught for years. And if you skip this part, Vaseline won't work nearly as well. Most people don't know this because cosmetic companies won't tell you. Why would they? If more people knew what I'm about to share, no one would be buying $300 jars of anti-aging cream anymore. Let me take you back 30 years. I was in my prime, flying home from a medical conference in Chicago. A major skincare brand invited me to consult for them. When I toured their lab, I saw something I'll never forget. Dr. Rayner, they said, this is our new luxury cream. Retail price, $450. Then they showed me the formula. The base ingredient? Vaseline. That's when it hit me. The beauty industry is more about branding than breakthroughs. So today, I'm bringing this secret directly to you. No hype, no fluff. Just honest advice from a doctor who's seen behind the curtain. Stick around until the end of this video. I'll walk you through the Vaseline night routine that could change the way your skin feels and looks forever. Let me share the story of one of my patients, Margaret Collins, a 72-year-old retired librarian living in Ohio. For years, Margaret spent nearly $200 each month on various anti-aging creams and serums. Despite all that effort, her skin kept getting drier, and her wrinkles became more pronounced. When I first recommended Vaseline to her, she looked at me skeptically. Dr. Rayner, she said, you really think this drugstore stuff is going to do what my $150 creams couldn't? 3 months later, Margaret returned for a checkup, and I was genuinely amazed. Her skin looked smoother, healthier, almost like a different person had walked into the room. This is unbelievable, she told me. I've never seen such a noticeable difference with any product I've ever used. Even my grandkids said, Grandma, you look different. What did you do? The biggest skincare issue we face as we get older is moisture loss. As we age, our skin struggles to retain hydration, and that dryness leads directly to fine lines and deeper wrinkles. Vaseline forms a protective barrier, a thin film on the surface of the skin that seals in moisture. I often explain it like this. Imagine a pot filled with warm water. If you leave it uncovered, the water evaporates quickly. Now put a lid on it, and the moisture stays trapped inside. That's exactly what Vaseline does. It's the lid. One dermatological study even found that Vaseline can reduce moisture loss from the skin by up to 98%. That's a level of protection most high-end skincare products can't even come close to. Now think about this while sipping your morning coffee or tea. How much money have you spent over the years chasing the promise of perfect skin? And were you truly satisfied with the results? Tonight, that cycle can end. Because now you know the power of Vaseline. But here's the key. Vaseline alone isn't the full story. When combined with the right product, its effectiveness multiplies. Let's start with one powerful combo. Vaseline and a moisturizing ampule. If your grandchildren have ever gifted you a little vial of hyaluronic acid serum, don't just dab it on and forget about it. Hyaluronic acid is a superstar at attracting moisture, able to hold up to 1,000 times its weight in water. But here's the catch. When left exposed to air, it quickly dries out, losing much of its benefit. Years ago, a patient named Janet Miller, she was 69, told me her expensive hyaluronic acid serum didn't seem to be doing anything. So I taught her a simple method. Apply the ampule first, wait 3 minutes, then add a small dab of Vaseline, just about the size of a grain of rice, over your entire face. A month later, she returned glowing. "Doctor, I can't believe it. Same serum, but the results are completely different." Why? Because Vaseline locked in the moisture. This routine is especially powerful in winter or anytime you're in a heated, dry environment. Up next, I'll share the second powerhouse combo. Vaseline with retinol. Let me tell you about one of my patients, Eleanor Smith, a 74-year-old retired schoolteacher living in Oregon. Eleanor had a frustrating issue with her skin. Every time she used creams with retinol, her face would tingle and turn red. As you might know, retinol is a powerful ingredient. It helps promote skin renewal and boosts collagen production, which is fantastic for reducing wrinkles. But the downside? It can be incredibly irritating, especially for mature skin. So here's what I suggested to Eleanor. After applying her retinol cream, wait about 20 to 30 minutes. Then lightly smooth on a thin layer of Vaseline, no more than the size of a grain of rice. That simple change made a big difference. Not only did the stinging sensation disappear, but the retinol actually became more effective. Her skin looked firmer and calmer within just a few weeks. One critical reminder. Always use retinol only at night. Exposure to UV rays during the day can increase sensitivity and lead to skin damage. Next, let me introduce the third combination, one that's become a personal favorite in my household: whitening essence and Vaseline. My wife, Carol, loves this routine. Whitening essences are known for their ability to reduce dark spots and even out skin tone. After she started this routine, the sunspots on her cheeks noticeably faded in just 3 months. The method is simple. At night, apply the whitening essence, wait 5 minutes, then apply a very light layer of Vaseline on top. It seals in the essence and enhances its effects. Now onto the fourth combination, snail cream and Vaseline. You may have seen snail cream in stores. It's known for helping skin regenerate and recover. But here's the catch. Over time, the effect wears off quickly. That's where Vaseline comes in. One of my senior colleagues, now 83, experienced excellent results using this method. After applying his snail cream, he followed it up with a thin coating of Vaseline. The regenerative power lasted longer, and the improvement in his wrinkles was clearly noticeable. As these examples show, Vaseline works best as a sealant, not a solo act. It locks in the active ingredients and keeps them working longer on your skin. But here's one very important tip. Less is more. Don't slather it on. A tiny amount, about the size of a grain of rice, is enough to cover your whole face. I still care for my skin this way every night. And starting tonight, I encourage you to try one of these combinations based on what your skin needs most. Over time, you won't just notice a difference in your skin. You may feel more confident, more refreshed. And don't forget, signs of aging show up not only on the face. The back of your hands, elbows, knees, and even the tops of your feet. These areas have thinner skin and lose moisture quickly. My wife, now 83, has cared for them diligently since her 40s. Thanks to that, people often think she's in her early 70s. In the next segment, I'll show you how to care for each of these 5 areas, one by one. Let's begin with an area most people overlook: the neck. One afternoon, my patient, Linda Parker, 74, shared a concern with me. "Dr. Rayner, I never imagined I'd have so many wrinkles on my neck. No one ever told me I should take care of it when I was younger." She was absolutely right. The skin on our neck is thinner than the skin on our face and contains fewer oil glands, which makes it more prone to dryness and fine lines. Plus, we move our necks constantly throughout the day, talking, turning, looking down at phones, which naturally encourages creasing. So here's the method I taught Linda. Every night before bed, apply your usual essence or moisturizer to your neck. Then, seal it in with a very thin layer of Vaseline. And here's the key. Always apply the product using upward strokes, from the base of the neck toward the chin, not the other way around. After just 1 month, Linda noticed her neck wrinkles had softened significantly. She was thrilled with the results. Next, let's talk about the hands. I once had a consultation with Mrs. Sarah Whitman, who was preparing for her granddaughter's wedding in Texas. "Doctor," she said, "even if I can't turn back time, I want my hands to look a little younger. The wedding photos will last forever." I showed her a simple nightly routine. Before bed, apply a generous amount of a rich hand cream. Then, layer on a light coat of Vaseline and slip your hands into a pair of soft cotton gloves. Sleep with them on. Within a week, Sarah called to say her hands felt smooth, soft, and rejuvenated. I also recommended a deeper treatment twice a week. Apply a thicker layer of Vaseline, cover with cotton gloves, and relax for 30 minutes. This alone made her hands look a decade younger. Now, let's move to the third area: elbows and knees. These spots are often neglected, but can make us look older, especially in warm weather when we wear shorts or short sleeves. One of my longtime patients, George Anderson, 85, an avid golfer, told me, "I've never thought about my knees, but now they're dark, dry, and I'm self-conscious wearing shorts on the course." I gave him a simple solution. After bathing, while the skin is still damp, apply Vaseline generously to the knees and elbows. Don't wipe it off. Let it absorb overnight. Just 1 week later, George laughed and said, "I wore my golf shorts with pride again." Lastly, let's talk about a forgotten area: behind the ears and the earlobes. These spots age faster than we realize because the skin is thin and exposed to sun over time. One day, my daughter commented on her great-grandmother. "Dad, Grandma's ears look droopy. It makes her look older." She wasn't wrong. Sagging earlobes and dry skin behind the ears can subtly age the whole face. A small dab of moisturizer followed by Vaseline, applied nightly, can keep these delicate areas soft, smooth, and firm. Little things, when done consistently, can make a big difference in how we look. and how we feel. But don't worry, caring for these often overlooked areas is incredibly easy. When applying your regular skincare to your face, simply extend it to include your ears and earlobes. At night, follow up with a very light layer of Vaseline. Many of my patients have reported a surprising improvement not just in the firmness of their ears, but in the overall tightness of their facial appearance. That brings us to the fifth and final aging zone, the area around the mouth and lips. One of my longtime patients, 80-year-old Martha Reynolds from Indiana, once shared with me, "Dr. Rayner, the wrinkles around my mouth are what bother me the most. I feel like they make me look tired even when I'm happy." She was right. The skin around the mouth is constantly in motion. When we talk, smile, eat, drink, it moves thousands of times each day. And over time, this repeated movement leads to deeper lines and folds. These wrinkles can cause the face to look aged or worn down. So here's what I recommended to Martha. Each night before bed, apply a little more Vaseline to the area around your mouth and across your lips. The skin in this area benefits from overnight hydration, and Vaseline creates a barrier that locks in moisture and encourages the skin to plump up naturally while you sleep. 1 month later, Martha returned with a big smile. "Doctor, I'm so happy. The wrinkles around my mouth aren't nearly as deep when I laugh now. I feel like myself again." Before we move on, let's revisit the fourth zone we talked about, the area behind the ears and on the earlobes. Many people don't realize how quickly this area ages, but the skin there is very thin and exposed to daily stress. One day, my daughter looked at a photo of her great-grandmother and said, "Dad, Grandma's ears look so droopy. It makes her look older than she is." And she wasn't wrong. Sagging in this small area can subtly affect the overall impression of the face. Fortunately, the solution is simple. Each night, when applying your moisturizer or facial cream, remember to gently apply it to the backs of your ears and onto the earlobes. Follow that with a small amount of Vaseline, just enough to cover the skin without feeling greasy. Several of my patients have told me that this tiny habit made their ears appear firmer and helped lift the surrounding skin, giving their entire face a more youthful look. Now, let's talk about one of the most delicate and expressive areas of the face, the eyes. The skin around the eyes is the thinnest on the body and tends to show fine lines, puffiness, and sagging sooner than anywhere else. My wife, who's been dedicated to her skincare for decades, always says, "You can tell someone's age just by looking at their eyes." And it's true. Crow's feet, under eye bags, and drooping lids can add years to your appearance, even if the rest of your skin is in good shape. Gentle care around the eyes, combined with light hydration and a protective barrier like Vaseline, can go a long way in keeping this area looking smooth, awake, and youthful. The method I taught my wife for caring for the delicate skin around the eyes is incredibly simple. First, she applies her usual eye cream. Then, using her ring finger, she gently taps on a tiny amount of Vaseline, so small it's barely visible. The key is not to overdo it. Too much can weigh down the eyelids or leave a greasy look, but just the right amount helps seal in moisture and keep the area soft and smooth. Thanks to this routine, she still has firm, bright skin around her eyes, and many people are surprised when they learn her actual age. As I always remind my patients, the most important element in any skincare routine is consistency. One of my longtime patients, 78-year-old Carol Jennings, once told me, "Dr. Rayner, I didn't notice anything at first. Nothing seemed to change. But after about 3 months of nightly application, she began to see real improvement. Now, she never skips her Vaseline routine before bed." And I encourage everyone listening today, Start tonight. If you stick with it, the difference can be remarkable. Now, while all the areas I've mentioned are important, there's one thing we need to consider carefully: your skin type. Using Vaseline incorrectly, especially for those with oily or acne-prone skin, can actually make things worse. This came up during a consultation with 76-year-old Susan Miller. "Dr. Rayner," she asked, "I have oily skin. Is Vaseline safe for me to use?" After examining her skin closely, I gave her the answer. Your skin type, whether oily, dry, or combination, doesn't fundamentally change with age. So yes, people with naturally oily skin need to be extra cautious. I speak from personal experience. I've had oily skin all my life. And even now at 87, my forehead and nose still shine throughout the day. If you have this skin type, don't apply Vaseline all over your face. One of my patients, 79-year-old Edward Grant, ignored this advice and used Vaseline liberally. Unfortunately, it led to breakouts and clogged pores. Instead, apply Vaseline only to areas that feel dry, avoiding your T-zone, forehead, nose, and chin, and lightly treating the U-zone, cheeks, and under eyes. Once Edward followed this adjusted approach, his skin improved significantly within just a few weeks. And remember this final rule: never apply Vaseline directly on active acne or pimples. It's better to treat those areas with targeted products and keep them clean and breathable. Margaret Lawson, 71, had long struggled with breakouts on her chin, even into her 70s. At first, she applied Vaseline directly to her blemishes, hoping to soothe them. But the results were the opposite. Pimples are a form of inflammation caused by clogged pores, and sealing them with Vaseline can trap bacteria and oil, making the problem worse. I advised Margaret to use a very small amount of Vaseline only at night, and only on the dry areas of her face that weren't affected by breakouts. There's also a special combination method I've taught many of my patients. One longtime patient, 82-year-old Dorothy Mitchell, battled both dry skin and occasional acne. I showed her how to mix 1 to 2 drops of tea tree oil, known for its natural antibacterial properties, with a fingertip's worth of Vaseline. This blend soothes dryness while fighting inflammation. With this simple method, Dorothy noticed clearer, more hydrated skin within weeks. Another powerful combo involves medicated creams. One of my physician colleagues had struggled with persistent skin irritation for years. I recommended he apply his prescription ointment as usual, then follow with a light layer of Vaseline. This helped the active ingredients stay on his skin longer, boosting their effectiveness. Later, he told me, "Doctor Rayner, I can't believe it's the same medicine. The results are completely different." Now, a word of caution for those with sensitive skin. When 83-year-old Helen Morris tried Vaseline for the first time, her skin turned red. While rare, some individuals may have a mild allergy. That's why I always suggest a patch test first. Dab a small amount behind your ear or on the inside of your arm, and observe the area for 24 hours. If there's no irritation, you're good to go. And remember, less is more. A tiny amount, no bigger than a grain of rice, is enough for your entire face. Vaseline is best used at night. During the day, it can attract dust or feel sticky. The correct order? Gently wash your face with lukewarm water, never hot, as it dries your skin. Pat your face dry, leaving it slightly damp. Apply your regular serum. Wait 1 to 2 minutes, then apply Vaseline. That's it. Tonight, as you care for your neck, hands, elbows, knees, lips, and ears, remember, these quiet moments matter. Years ago, a woman once told me, "I'm already 78. What good will skincare do now?" I simply replied with the words of my mentor, "You don't grow old because you age. You age because you stop caring. My mentor, even at the age of 92, never skipped his morning walk and always took care of his skin. Watching him over the years, I came to believe deeply in the power of small, consistent habits. One of my patients, Yumi Thompson, was skeptical at first. But 6 months after beginning what I now call the Vaseline habit, her skin transformed. With a proud smile, she told me, "My grandchildren said, 'Grandma, your hands are so soft.' I'm glad I started, even if it was later in life." And that's the message I want to leave with you. If you start today, tomorrow will already be better. In a month, you'll notice visible changes. And in a year, you might not believe your skin ever looked the way it used to. My wife often reminds me, I don't need to be beautiful at my age. I just want to age well. And she's right. Good skin isn't just about looking young. Healthy skin is your body's first line of defense. It keeps out harmful bacteria, locks in moisture, and helps you stay protected. So tonight, begin your skincare journey. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need to do every step all at once. Just start by applying a small amount of Vaseline to your hands. That one small action can change your skin, your confidence, and your quality of life. May your skin, your health, and your days grow stronger, brighter, and more beautiful from this moment on.